There we go. My name is Greg Dixon, Story Van TV, and here with Joey Chandler, and we're going to talk about what our essential self and core business. So I resonated with what Joey was saying is because I'm kind of going through a process of trying to figure out what I want to do when I grow up, and Joey's in the business of helping people find that out with a program. And I just put a banner up here that explains it a little bit better. So a core clarity coach. And so we're going to talk about what core clarity means. And maybe that's a good place for us to start. And if you want to say a few things about yourself here.
Well, thank you so much for having me on and having this opportunity. Yeah, so I'm a core clarity coach, and it's exactly what it is. I help people clarify who they are at their core and then how to be more of that in their lives. And the basic idea is that we all have something at our core. It's something like love or joy or happiness. And the more clear we are on that, the more we can use it in our lives. And the more we use our core in our lives, the more we can create a life that aligns with and supports and reflects who we are. We produce more and we're less stressed.
That's fabulous. And we met in a business networking group, and you made the connection between connecting with having clarity with your core to attracting and making more money, having better services. How do you see that working?
Yeah, it started with me as just a basic idea, and it was a bit of a aha. It was like a big aha for me, but it sounds very, very simple when I say it. The basic idea is the more you know about who you are, the better off you can be in the sales process. The more grounded you are, the more opportunities you see, you're able to go with the ups and downs of sales. And the more that you understand who you are, you start to really see your value and your self worth. You're more likely to charge what you're worth, which allows you to earn more. It's not a very complicated process. And what I found is the more that you can clarify who you are and you just keep exploring that, what happens is that you end up charging and earning more and something closer to your worth.
Yeah, I think how I understand that is I think it's very easy, especially people say, niche down, find something specific. And so we spend time trying to find something that we can sell, right? And, we're thinking more of what are people buying and maybe I'll offer that. And really what you're talking about is putting that 180 degrees the other way around is what is your core value? What are your strengths, and what do you have to offer, and offer that. And sometimes we were having a little discussion just before we started here about something that I have been doing and gotten away from doing, and it's probably is of value, but for whatever reason, I've been offering something else. So,
Yeah, and actually because oftentimes we think like, oh, I can't really figure out what I want because then I won't be able to, if I go try to sell what I want to do, then it won't make any money. And if I sell what I don't want to do, then I'll be unhappy. And one of the principles of this work, one thing that guided me to this is this principle that we all have this thing at our core, but it's far closer to the surface than we realize. So what I find generally is that the activities that you're doing, like the sales that you're doing in this quote call it the money making side, and the sales that you'd be doing or the services you'd be offering in the let's say the more to yourself sort of side, are actually more similar or there's more connections than you might realize. And by understanding who you are at your core, you can start to see those connections, and it will do one of a couple things. One, it will either say, hey, this thing that I've been doing, I've been making money on, I was kind of poo-pooing it, but actually I kind of love it for these reasons, and I connect with it in this way. Or you'll say, you know what? This thing that I want to do, but I'm avoiding, I've just been afraid to step into it for these reasons. But I'm really connected to it. And now I can use my core to get past my own limiting beliefs and then go take the actions. But understanding who you are, I'm not saying it's going to make you, because we have bills to pay. I'm not suggesting at all that you sacrifice your money to just go do what you love. But what I am saying is the more clear you are on who you are at your core and you increase your ability to bring that out into the world, the greater the chance you have of creating a life that supports and reflects who you are. And that may take a little bit of time. It may take a few steps, like I'm going to do this job until I do that. But no matter what, the more you know about who you are, just the better you are to able to make all of that happen in a way that works for you.
Yes. So one of the things we were talking about when we met earlier was art and music. For me, I've gotten away from doing art and music, and I've reconnecting. And you have some experience working with artists, and yeah, I think you have a little story to talk about a client, an artist.
Yeah, so I was working with an artist, and she, we're dealing with the same struggle that every artist is. How do I charge more money? How do I raise the rates of my services? How do I live as an artist as opposed to doing artist as a hobby? Uh, and we did some work to understand who she are at her core, and I want to make clear what I mean by who you are at your core. So I help people create what I call a core statement. Like for myself, I'm about love, and what love means to me is courage, connection, and contribution. And I spend all my time thinking about how can I bring more courage, connection, and contribution to my life. And that's basically the work. So I'm working with this particular artist, and she is about happiness. And part of happiness for her was connection as well. And so we're doing this work, and she's actually explaining to me, she has this great idea of going to do corporate work and allowing people to do her work with her. She does this very kind of abstract art, so she can bring people in and they can go through her process with her. It's this really nice team building exercise. And she had in her head that this was a kind of a kids based, kind of just a fun sort of thing. And and so her idea was, I'm going to bring corporate people in. We're going to train them, and then they're going to go work with their kids. So it's kind of like train the people to go train with their kids. And honestly, I got lost when she started saying that. But then we talked just a little bit longer, and I just suggested, like, what if you, instead of trying to train them for kids, you help these corporate people connect with their inner kids. And as you help them connect with their inner kids and they get to explore the painting and all the stuff that she does, they're naturally going to have more energy and excitement and fun to share with their own kids. And that all of a sudden, it just makes sense. And she set up some light bulbs and she got into action. And I don't know where she's at in that. So I'm not saying she's automatically like made that a super success. But you can just see by me knowing that she was about connection, I was able to very easy, and this was, 30-minute call, to start to connect those dots. And this is what happens when you understand who you are at your core. You're able to start to see how things line up for you, how you can make your services more impactful for other people. And you can start to what is it, fine tune and not make things so complicated. Because I
Yeah.
think what happens is when we doubt ourselves, and I am this 100%. This is me. When we doubt ourselves and we're not sure who we are, we like, I'm going to offer this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, because we don't really trust the core value of what, who we are and what we do. But the more you understand who you are, the more you can look at someone and say, hey, your team is going to come. We're going to do this art project. They're all going to do this thing. They're going to get in touch with their inner self, their inner creativity. It is going to be worth $10,000 without even batting an eye. I don't know that that's not her number, and I don't know what it would be. But you can get, the more clear you are on that, you just are able to. You just see the value of it. So you don't charge more because just to charge more. You charge more because you're clear that it's worth
Yeah.
so much more.
So just to go back to your client's idea, I know somebody who she flies all over. We happened to get on a plane one day, and she was going to Boston to it was a corporate client, and what she teaches is creativity and very much like what your client is talking about, going through a bunch of exercises. It's very sometimes it's used in the context of team building or just general company morale, right? Get them out of the get them out of the grind, get them thinking in different ways. So it's really and what you're saying is that was her something she loved to do, and she was able to incorporate with something that's valued in the corporate world or with entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And the idea is that you come to this realization, you come to this strength of seeing your value through steps, through baby steps. One of the problems I think we have, and I definitely fell into this, is that we take a course, we take something, and we're like, if I, and you're a funnel expert, so I'm sure you've had people do this. Like, if I just build this funnel, then everybody's going to come and my life is going to be great. If I do this one workout, then all of a sudden I'm going to lose all this weight. If I do this one thing, then my life is going to change. And I just don't find that the case. I find that if you get in touch with who you are and then you ask yourself over and over again, who am I and how can I bring more of that to my life? And you take baby step after baby step, what I find is that your clarity grows about who you are. It doesn't happen as fast as you want to have things off, because we want to just we want that magic bullet and we want it today. It doesn't happen that fast, but it happens far faster than you might expect to be able to really deepen your sense of who you are and to be able to say, hey, you talk to me, it's going to be worth X number of dollars. And so I'm going to charge you, a third of that, but
Yeah.
it's worth so much more.
Yes, it is very, very important. I think when it comes down to it, like with marketing or funnels or any of that, nothing will work if people don't resonate with you. And so, the more authentic you are with your what you're offering, what you're doing, how you're presenting, the easier that will all work. I think sometimes people are sell courses on creating courses or how to do marketing and things, and often what happens is things that work for them because of who they are won't work for somebody else. So or you can't count on it. You can't just, because I spent $10,000 on this, this program here, that doesn't mean I'm going to have the same success as somebody else. And it comes down to being authentic. And I think that's why you and I met in a networking group, right? So you get to know each other a little bit and exchange some notes and meet and find out about each other.
Well, yes, but we also connected because we were being you were honest. You're saying, hey, I'm on this journey as well. I shared with what I'm doing. You're like, hey, me too.
Yeah,
So I've been a lot of networking meetings and we're not having calls like this with other people.
yeah,
So I just want to, but you did mention something. You said it works a lot better when people are able to resonate with us.
yes, yeah,
And I'm going to say it's really hard to get people to resonate with us when we don't resonate with us.
sure, yep,
And
yeah, absolutely.
and so and again, this is just me exploring this over and over again. And I want to just put a plug in for the power of clarity because this makes a difference. In say February and March time, I had done some work. I realized that I was about love, and I was working I had 5 what I call pillars, and I honestly don't remember what they were, but they were, and I was more clear about who I was than most people, and but I was struggling. It was very very much struggling. I had a conversation with a friend of mine. Actually, I do a podcast called The Love Launch, where I ask people, what does love mean to you and how can we have more of it? And out of one of those conversations, a friend of mine told a story about how the Navy SEALs, the military arm in the U.S., said that there are that they look at things in groups of 3. Like they're like, we have 3 values on this mission, and he basically made this real simple point. He's like, when you jump into a war zone, it's really hard to remember anything beyond 3 things. And at that point in time, I was really struggling. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to give that a try. And so I reduced my 5 down to 3. And those 3 became courage, creativity, or sorry, creativity was an older one, courage, connection, and contribution. And those, by that refinement from 5 to 3, I was then able to start to ask the question, who am I and how can I bring more of that? I was able to ask, how can I bring more courage, connection, and contribution to my life on a regular basis. Courage, connection, contribution. And because um, because I was able to repeat it and use conversations and in all of those things, able to make greater use of it. And too oftentimes the work on who we are at our core is too vague. And having that clarity makes a difference because you can ask yourself the question over and over and over again: Who am I, and how can I bring more of that to my life?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And we you have a challenge coming up that where you help people find that clarity. And do you wanna say a
Yeah.
little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. It's actually coming up like in a couple of days here on starting on Wednesday the 8th. It's called the More Clarity, More Money Challenge. And the basic idea of this is that the more clear you are on who you are, the greater your ability to charge what you're worth and earn more money. It's the fundamental things. And so there's two main aspects of it. Well, actually, there's three. The first component is we're going to use what I call my core statement tool. And you're going to be able to create a core statement that is your version of mine is, I'm about love, and love to me means courage, connection, and contribution. And those are my three. You're going to create your own. And then we're going to spend about 4.5 days basically bringing more of that to your life. You're going to ask, how can I bring this to my fitness, to my family, to just different areas, and you're going to build up what I call your core muscles. So you're just more able to, you have more strength and to be yourself. And then on the fifth, sixth, and seventh day, you're going to say, okay, how can I bring this new awareness about myself? How can I bring this to my business? How can I bring this to my sales process? And what you're going to find is that you're just going to be able to be more clear on who you are, the value that you have, and what you offer. And then you'll just have the courage to, ask for what you really are worth, or at least something closer to it. And just as a just kind of the funny example about this, like how this was working, as I was preparing to do this, I was actually thinking of the pricing for this course. And every 7-day challenge pretty much on the planet, maybe not everyone, but many of the industry standards to do it free. But I was thinking about myself. I was thinking about connection and courage and contribution and, really owning your worth. And I said, I can't charge that, or I can't do this for free. I need to charge. So I set a price at $99 and I got people to sign up. The platform that I used to host the challenge, I did an intake call with them, and they're like, how are you getting people to sign up for paying for a 7-day challenge? And I didn't do that because of, I didn't do that to charge. I did it because charging was a reflection of who I am. And that little tweak honestly was a big difference in my ability to say, this is who I am, this is the value that I bring. I'm so happy I did that because now I'm so focused on just serving the people that have signed up. Maybe the numbers aren't as big as if you did it for free, but I don't have to worry about like, am I upselling them or anything of that sort? And yes, there is an upsell, later on, but that's all fine. But I don't care about that. I'm just like, how can I serve these people the best? And that all happened because I looked at myself and I said, what would be the best reflection of me in this process? And so that the idea is that you would be able to do that in your own way. Who knows what each person's sales process is, but if you can bring more of yourself to your sales process, you're simply going to have more clarity. You're going to make more money.
Oh, that sounds great. And so I will probably join you on your challenge. And let's take a look at the website here. And that's where there's the website address is in the chat, and it's also on the bottom there streaming along. And here's your main theme.
Yeah. I mean, this is the basic idea. If you believe that being yourself while selling your service or products will help you charge and earn what you're worth, then you should come do the challenge. Because here's the reality of it. The vast majority of us, we just don't know who we are. And it's not because there's anything wrong with us. It's because we haven't been asked the questions and we haven't begun the support to be ourselves. And so you can go through, I give, as many different tips as I can about how to be yourself. But the main thing is you got to come in, we figure out your core statement, and then you ask the question over and over again, how can I bring, who am I and how can I bring more of that to my life and to my business?
Yeah, this is really, really, really good stuff. And I'm hoping people will come up and sign up. You're starting, what day you said you're starting?
We're starting on the 8th. So it's today's Monday. We're starting on Wednesday.
On
And
Wednesday, yeah.
and so it's tough time and a tight time. But here's the really awesome part. This is the part that is so incredible. The core statement is actually done through a online system that I developed, and it will take you about 10 minutes to create.
Okay. Yeah.
And then if you did nothing else except wake up in the morning and say, okay, I'm about, and let's just say, that artist, she's about happiness and I think it was connection. I forget what it was. Actually, you know what? My son did this. My son said he's about excitement, my 15-year-old. And for
Right.
him, excitement is about achievement, fun, and sharing. That's
Okay.
excitement for him. If all, and let's just say you had something similar, if all you did was wake up for 7 days and
Yeah.
ask yourself, how can I bring more excitement? How can I bring more a sense of achievement, fun, and sharing to my life? It will change your life. You'll be more of yourself. And the reason is that if you take an action that's aligned with who you are at your core, those, no matter how big or small it is, that compound effect will produce unexpected results.
No, I think that can really transform people's lives and people's businesses. And so you have a better, like, that's perfect, trying to have more happiness, more, sort of things that excite you in your
Yeah,
life every
yeah,
day.
and it's for him. And I just have to. Okay, I'm going to say this is a bit of a proud dad moment. So my son's 15, and I talk to him about this stuff all the time, and he's like, "Dad, stop." you know, nobody like dad. Nobody other dad talks about this stuff, um and I'm asking him like, hey, are you bringing? And he was doing it's finals week. This is his freshman year of high school, and he's going through
Yeah.
finals this week, and so he's like stressed and trying. And he's a bit of a perfectionist, or not a bit. He is a perfectionist, and he's struggling. And so I was just talking about how can you bring more of excitement. And he called me up yesterday, and he actually taught me this thing about writing that is incredible. He did a test. The assignment was to write a letter to someone that he admired. And for
Okay.
him, it was Kid Cudi, who's a rapper. I'm guessing you don't know who that. I don't know anything about Kid Cudi, but my son wrote this really nice piece saying, I really appreciate the music and the way that you share yourself, and how being and how you make it okay for men and boys to share themselves authentically and talk about mental stress. And then he said this thing. He said, you know what? I'm about excitement and sharing. And knowing that you do that allows me to be more of myself. And here's the incredible part, that the first like 3 or 4 sentences that he wrote honestly could be written by anyone. They were good sentences, but they could have been written by anyone,
Yeah.
because he tied it in with himself, back to
Yeah.
his core statement. It tied everything together. And it was like this thing went off in my head. You can create content now and say, I think this, here's this. All of this matters to me because I'm about this. And the more clear you are on what you're about, it's going to make all of that more strong. And sorry, I got a what you call it, a leaf blower going out my door. Does that make sense? Because it was really like I showed it to my wife, and she's like, "Oh, I could use this in resume writing. I could
Yes.
say here's this, and this all matters to me because who I am is about this and this, and here's
Yeah.
the connection."
Yeah. That's all the personal story, your why, uh,
Yeah.
and your son's why and people's why. Um,
Well, I want to be. I got to point this out. This is not why, and this is not value work,
okay.
because
Yeah.
for me, when I was
Okay.
starting to think about purpose,
Yeah.
when I was thinking about why, when I was thinking about my values, all of those things kind of had um, a forward thinking thing. Like, I'm going to go do something. Like I have,
Okay. Yep.
there's stuff to do. And when I started doing all this, I did not have the energy. I was at a place in my life where I did not have the energy to do anything.
Yeah.
All I could ask was, who am I and how can I be more of that?
Yeah.
Why or purpose? You don't have to do except ask yourself, who am I and how can I be more of that today?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fabulous. So we're going to the link to your challenge is in the chat here. And I'm hoping that everybody will sign up. I certainly could use that myself, and I'm sure many people in our audience could use that clarity. And I'll just put the banner up here again. So it's the More Clarity, More Money challenge, and connecting the business. So I guess to summarize it, if you can just be the best self that you can be, best aligned with your own self, who you really are, a lot of other things follow naturally. Is that a fair statement?
Well, they don't follow automatically. I'll say this:
Yeah,
by
yeah,
asking yourself, who am I at my core, and
yeah,
how can I be more of that in my life? You can then create a life that reflects and supports who you are at your core, and
yeah,
that will allow you to produce results, increase your productivity, and decrease stress.
yeah. And just to take the money out of the equation, even if you're aligned with your true self and your own life, you will have a more rewarding life, whether that's connected to money or not. It's just, yeah,
Absolutely. I, you could apply this work to anything. You could say, I could easily be doing this exact same thing. The more clarity, more relationship challenge. The more clarity, more fitness challenge. It
yeah,
would be exactly the same thing. And that's the real power of this work. Actually, I chose
yeah,
money because honestly, I wanted to have a breakthrough in my own money.
yeah,
And I know a lot of people struggle being themselves while they're selling. So I thought if I could help people with that, then that is going to be good for my business. And I'll be able to impact this place where people really struggle, which will be tap into my sense of wanting to connect with them and contribute.
yeah. I think that's an area that where a lot of people, especially artistic people, is somehow they've got the idea that the money or the sales is contrary to who they are, and there's an internal resistance to it, and it doesn't need to be that way, and that's a way of getting over. So I think the value in what you teach is not just about money, but it's about, could be relationships or anything, but it will, if you want to take that passion or your core self and serve other people, it can lead to more abundance in your life, more prosperity
Absolutely. Yeah. Across the board.
across the board. Anyway, it's been great talking with you today, and I hope people sign up,
That's
and
thank
and
you.
maybe we'll have you back again in a few months, and we'll talk about how the journey is going.
Awesome. Well, I hope to see you there as well. And yeah, and anyone that if they can sign up, I will do my best to do a one-on-one call with people
Yeah,
to do an intake to make sure that they get the very best value out of the course. But the main idea is that the more clear you are on yourself, you do that for 7 days, you will make something happen.
awesome. Thank you again.
Thank you.